Now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build. And onward to progress we surely will.
Yes, indeed. Forget your differences and let us come together and build Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. Grenada belongs to us. We have a stake in this beautiful land, in this place we call home. So we must work together to ensure that it's developed, that we live it way better than we met it. I want to welcome you to the Dynamic Hour. Every Sunday from 1 to 2, we meaningfully engage. We talk about what's happening here in our country without fear, favor, or ill will. I want to encourage those on Facebook to please share the live. Those on YouTube, do the same thing, because we want more and more people to discover the program, to know about this program. And I must say, those who are sharing the program or talking about the program, you are doing an excellent job, if you ask me. In fact, only today I realized that the viewership on YouTube is growing quite quickly. And that is very good, because we know on Facebook we have a huge viewership or following. But YouTube, only recently I created that channel, and more people are following the program on YouTube. Once you look for Vision Information Services, you can subscribe to the page and follow the page. All right? So give yourself thumbs up for spreading the news about the program being on YouTube and where people can find it. You're doing an excellent job. I want to say what is extremely clear is that the Grenadian people are happier now more than ever. What is also clear is that our Prime Minister is a good negotiator, a skillful negotiator. And what is also clear is that when our Prime Minister travels, he doesn't return empty-handed, or he does so purposefully, because there is this whole notion from the NNP side that, look, our Prime Minister left Grenada or travel again, and why he's out there so frequently. So they have been pushing that narrative. But now they're realizing that he's not going on a dry ride, or he's not going because he wants to travel. He's doing so because he loves Grenada and he wants good for Grenada. He wants good things to come Grenada way. So he has been doing an excellent job where that is concerned. So we are seeing that more and more. We saw the Prime Minister was able to negotiate to get back at least the bigger amount of that grant funding or grant aid, the 16.4 million pounds or 20 million US. He was able to negotiate and get that back. So while Keith Mitchell was laughing and celebrating, in my belief, that Grenada lost 22.99 million pounds, our Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, was able to sit around the table and renegotiate or negotiate for that money to come back. And mind you, it was because the NNP didn't do what they were supposed to do to guarantee that 22.99 million pounds, come to Grenada, and that the two projects that it was earmarked for, that it get started. NNP did not do anything to start these projects, to implement these projects while they were in power. So we saw that, during the week and even the week before, because we heard over and over from Keith Mitchell, over and over again, Keith Mitchell making it a big thing. It was a big talking point, so to speak. And when you listen to him attentively, you can easily conclude that this guy was more or less happy with Grenada losing instead of, seeing it as a problem. This guy was extremely happy in my observation and belief. But we heard from the United Kingdom High Commissioner. We heard from him and what he had to say. Let me feature that again today, because I believe it's important.
In recent years, the United Kingdom has been the largest bilateral development partner in the Caribbean. For example, just in recent days, the UK has reapproved around $20 million grant finance for Grenada's water supply expansion and sewerage improvement project that's aimed at upgrading the country's water distribution and wastewater networks while improving the sewerage infrastructure in the capital city, St. George's. And this is to be delivered in partnership through the Caribbean Development Bank and with the government of Grenada. Right,
and you heard it there from the High Commissioner himself, saying in recent days, Grenada was able to get this thing reapproved. And once you hear reapproved, it means that it was approved before. Lest you forget that. All right? It was approved before. And Grenada lost it because the NNP did not do what they were supposed to do to make sure that we utilize it or get that money. But Keith Mitchell was out there more or less celebrating, in my belief, about Grenada losing this thing. Never you forget that. And if someone is genuine about Grenada and love Grenada, then I believe they would be concerned if Grenada lose that kind of money. But listen to Keith Mitchell.
How could you sitting government, and you have a project that the NNP negotiated. Prime Minister James Cameron came to Grenada. He came to 2 countries in the Caribbean. You remember that? The Prime Minister Britain. And before he left, he announced almost $80 million grant for your little country called Grenada. It was decided by the cabinet, and Brother Bowen being Minister of Finance, and of course Minister of Works, with the expertise and so on. We worked together and decided that the Western Main Road project is critical. The water situation and the solid waste situation needs to be upgraded. So we decided, grant money, this is not money you have to pay back, These are money given to you. First time in my life I hear a country get over $80 million and they throw it away. No, seriously. Most countries, they'll be called upon to resign, They throw away $70 million. Bowen said a while ago.
Right, and you realize that this guy is laughing about this. He sees this as a big joke, as a kicks. And that is a good test as to whether this guy is genuine about Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique, or whether it's just about him, Keith Mitchell. But what is amazing, we discovered that this money, this grant money, and that's a lot of money, anyhow you look at it, it's not a loan. This money was available for almost 7 years while the NNP was in power. What did they do to access it, to utilize it for the 2 projects? What? You ask yourself that. It's amazing. They did nearly nothing to access that money, to utilize that money, to bring prosperity and opportunities to our people. But he went out there laughing and giggling and telling lies, in my belief, to the Grenadian people, giving the Grenadian people this idea that NDC came in and look, they caused X, Y, and Z to happen, when we now discover that this thing was under Keith Mitchell and the NNP. When David Cameron came here in Grenada and announced that NNP was in power. So we discovered that. But what's amazing, and God is good, and all the time God is good. Our Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, was able to negotiate, was able to engage the United Kingdom government to have this £16.4 million or $20 million back, so that Grenadians can benefit from this water expansion project, which would include also the sewer issue from the city or the capital. We have some major sewer issues, and that would upgrade it, modernize it, and so on and so forth. So again, I am so happy that Grenadians are able to look at this and say, okay, all right, if you are genuine about Grenada and the people of Grenada, you will not go there laughing at Grenada losing something like that, losing almost 75 to 80 million EC. That's a lot of money, and it's grant. It's not money that you have to pay back. But our Prime Minister was able to renegotiate to get that money back to our people of Grenada. So we now know that our Prime Minister has good negotiating skills, very, very good in negotiating skills. So that was a big thing during this week. We also learned of the trip. Well, not the trip, sorry, but the delegation, Saudi Arabia delegation that came to Grenada. And again, people saying, well, I wonder what the Prime Minister is able to get for our people. Well, here is the evidence of that.
The visit was led by His Excellency Ahmed bin Al-Khatib, who is the Minister of Tourism for Saudi Arabia, but also he is head of the Saudi Development Fund. And so to a large extent the visit was in relation to the Saudi Development Fund. We have been in discussions with them, and I should say for the record that we inherited those discussions in relation to a $100 million climate smart infrastructure project. The concept was previously called Climate Smart Cities, but it's really more than just about the city of St. George or the town of Grenville, and it's about resilience of our infrastructure. So the discussions were in relation to us furthering and coming to an agreement in relation to their funding this project. The project has a number of components, some of which include the resuscitation of the Carriacou and the saving of it. As you're aware, it's susceptible to sea level rise, the saving of Grandlands Beach, and when I say saving of Grandlands Beach, the beach needs to be saved. We have projections that show that by 2050, there may no longer be a Grandlands Beach. So obviously that's our pride and gem, and we have to take measures to ensure that we can have it around for many, many more decades to come. Grenville as well suffers significantly from flooding. So we also have to take measures to address that. There are other components of it, including capacity building, because to undertake these projects, we would actually need to build our capacity to do so. So it's really, we're hoping that in the next couple of weeks we can finalize the agreement. We expect another visit by another delegation to do the technical work, particularly with the Ministry of Finance on this issue. Prior to his visit, there was a technical team that came in April and did extensive work as well with the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Ministry of Finance. So the visit was really to concretize that part. And secondly, as you're aware, Saudi Arabia is bidding to host Expo 2030 in Riyadh. And obviously, part of the visit was to seek the confirmation of Grenada's support, as well as OECS and Carriacou member states' support. Grenada has indicated our desire and willingness to support Saudi Arabia in its bid. And so the discussions were also about that issue. And then finally, about how else can we strengthen our relationship, our partnership, and what other opportunities are there for Grenada to work with Saudi Arabia to bolster Grenada's own development and to have further exchanges between the people of Saudi Arabia and the people of Grenada. I think it's just a question of finalizing the paperwork. Ideally for us, we would want it to be 100 million in grant funding. That may not be the case. It might be a combination of grant and loan, but obviously we would be pushing as much as possible to make it grant funding. But if it's not totally grant, you still need the funding, and obviously we would look for very, very concessional loan terms. So that's really the part of it that I think we will be finalizing on the next visit by the delegation. So ideally we expect in the not too distant future that we can have a formal announcement that the agreement has been concluded, and we can begin to have the discussions with the public about what the projects entail, so that we can get the consultation, the buy-in, etc. from the public on it.
Yes, folks, so there you had it. Again, our Prime Minister and the team, they are doing a remarkable job because they believe in Grenada. They want good for Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. And that is what we want to see happening as we move along. Hence the reason I say to people, the NNP as opposition is just an obstructionist group of people. They just want to obstruct progress, prosperity, opportunities for our people. But here you have the NDC and our beloved Prime Minister and the team doing a fantastic job in bringing benefits and bringing opportunities for our people. And we need to support that wholeheartedly. And that is why I was very angry when I realized Keith Mitchell was actually laughing that Grenada lost something as significant as the 22.99 million pounds. But joy came to my heart when our beloved Prime Minister, the Honorable Deacon Mitchell, was able to negotiate to get back the greater chunk of that money from the United Kingdom. That's 16.4 million pounds, 20 million US. And that's grant. That's free money. That's money that you don't have to pay back, right? But you have to utilize it. You have to implement what the project entails and what you talk about, you're going to be implementing with it. The NNP did nothing to really get this thing going. It's really sad. But boy, I thank God for this team because I think they're doing a remarkable job, a fantastic job, a splendid job. In Carriacou, my good friend, the Honorable Tevin Andrews, he continues to do wonders up there. Let's move to Carriacou and highlight two major projects up there.
The Government of Grenada, through the Ministry of Carriacou and Petty Martinique Affairs and Local Government, is examining the idea of installing night landing facilities as part of a plan for improving the overall operations and structure of the Lauriston Airport. A team from the Grenada Airports Authority, led by Project Manager of the Caribbean Air Transport Regional Connectivity Project, Donnell Mitchell, was recently on island reviewing the structures that are in place at Lauriston. He explained that the aim of the project is to enhance regional connectivity by improving the safety of air transport and the resilience of airport infrastructure to natural disasters. Mitchell said that specifically for Carriacou, his team is looking at ways to improve air traffic to the 13 square mile island, with discussions on the implementation of facilities for night landing. Consultant Hens with a air navigation consultant from Switzerland was also in Carriacou as part of the Caribbean Air Transport Regional Connectivity Project. WIF, who has more than 30 years of experience in the field, is helping to gather data to guide the project's implementation. For Minister for Carriacou and Petty Martinique Affairs and Local Government, Honorable Tevin Andrews, the visit of the Grenada Airports Authority team and the consultant inches the island closer to the implementation of the night landing facilities, which he listed as one of the major projects for 2023. He said this should encourage an increase in the tourism market and the attraction of a major hotel brand here for the first time. Diana Isaac, Public Relations Officer, Ministry of Carriacou and Petty Martinique Affairs and Local Government. Project. We're here today in Carriacou. You brought up a team from Grenada. Tell us what is really happening. What's the purpose of the visit?
All right, good morning. So the CATCA project seeks to improve air traffic into Grenada. Under that said project, there is a PAPI, better known as a Precision Approach Path Indicator, which was supposed to be installed at the MBIA. However, there's another project which also sponsored one. So when we did the review, we thought it was best if we could improve air traffic into Carriacou. So that is why we are here today, to have it installed. So we have a consultant who's an air navigation specialist, but not only to install the PAPI. In terms of improving the air traffic to Carriacou, we also want to see what else could be done to assist night landing as well.
Right. Night landing has been a key focus of the new administration in terms of helping to enhance the tourism market and in case of any emergency we might have at night. Persons have been asking, how soon, in terms of what is your timeline for the implementation of that project?
Well, we can give a specific time, but the main part of it now is to have the consultant do the assessment and guide us in the right direction as to what else is needed to accommodate the PAPI and what else can be done to improve the overall air traffic into Carriacou. So it's not just looking at the night landing alone. So probably looking at if we may need to improve the apron, improve the airstrip to accommodate a bigger size plane. So all of this is taken into consideration to improve the overall air traffic into Carriacou and not just a single accommodation for night landing.
Okay, but one of the concerns over the years that we have noted and people have been speaking about is the Lauriston Stadium, mini stadium. Do you think that will impact the project that you're planning for Carriacou?
I cannot speak to any negative or positive impact. The stadium is at where it is, the airport is as it is, so at this point in time I think it's a matter of improving the air traffic with the existing buildings or the existing surrounding as it is.
So any plans maybe you think to maybe lengthen the runway, because that has been spoken about as well?
But that's what I'm saying with the navigation specialist here now. It's a complete assessment he's going to do, and then based on what he finds on the ground, we will go with whatever he recommends.
Is there a timeline for the project itself, the CACOP?
The CATCOP project would be ending well, to go back a bit, it's for 6 years. So it originally started in 2020 and it should run up to 2026.
So we have enough time to ensure that we can implement what has to be implemented.
Yes, we have enough time, bearing in mind that we did have COVID, which set us back a bit, but we are trying to make up as much as we can. We still have a good time ahead of us, so this is just one aspect of it in terms of moving forward.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, so again, folks, that there speaks to the implementation rate of this government. This government is serious about implementing projects. So you have projects on the books that supposed to have started before or completed, but under the NNP, they had a very poor implementation rate. They were not implementing projects fast enough and so on. So we were losing a lot. But this government is serious about implementing those projects, and we must give them thumbs up. And you know, my good friend Tevin Andrews, he is serious about this. Let's move to Windward, this fish center, to hear what they're doing there.
Permanent Secretary Javon Williams, Mr. Benson Patrick Senior, Agriculture Officer, Fisheries Officer, Public Relations Officer, of course, Pastor Fleary, I think I saw Mrs. Fleary, Contractor, Mr. McDonald, everyone that is here, media, and of course to the Fisher folks, a pleasant good afternoon. I'm happy that we are here today, groundbreaking ceremony, or sword turning ceremony for the commencement of work that will start next week, I want to believe. Building of this modern fish center in Windward. I recall the journey started, the vision started a couple of years ago. A visit that was done by a group of individuals and I through the community. And I was shocked to see the state of the Windward Fish Market, Fish Center. And I recall almost a year ago, on the campaign trail, as a matter of fact, a stone throw away in a meeting that we had right across by that shop there, the corner shop, the Parliament. And we were discussing how we will ensure, once given the opportunity to be the parliamentary representative, that the Windward Fish Center is something that we are going to give priority to. I'm happy that less than 1 year later, it is now becoming a reality. That is testimony of boots on the ground.
So again, folks, the Honorable Tevin Andrews is doing quite a number of things for the people of Carriacou and Petit Martinique, and we commend him. We applaud him. He and the team, the NDC team. We also heard from our Prime Minister regarding the Molineux Road project.
Speaking at a press brief on Tuesday, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell underscored the critical importance of addressing the Molineux landslip, part of the Western Corridor project. This major road rehabilitation project is one of two for which grant funding was secured.
Well, the Molineux project is and when you say Molineux, we talk about the landslip, yes? Right, so the landslip is a very distinct project, because if we don't fix the Molineux landslip and get a road, effectively there's no Western Main Road, there's no Western Corridor. You're either going to have to go through Montmartre, as we're currently going, which is dangerous and really only meant for one-way traffic. That's not sustainable. Or you can go through the bypass that we recently built, which is Monkuma, which is obviously significantly longer, and also has some disadvantages because people living close to the Molineux area obviously then don't have bus access. So we're committed to solving the Molineux landslip, because if you don't have that, you literally cannot do anything in terms of improvement to the Western Main Road.
Since the start of construction at the Molineux landslip site, engineers have been trying to stabilize the area. When the grant was initially approved in 2016, there was no landslips. The Prime Minister said now there are additional costs that will have to be catered for.
It's a challenging site. The rock surface, some of it is not even rock, is very unstable. If you go there, you can actually stand and see the soil constantly falling. So we have to sort this issue out. When we sort this issue out, then we can think of the larger Western Main Road corridor, which is why once it became clear to us that we obviously were attempting to keep the grant funding in place, that our focus should really be on the water expansion project, because there was no impediments to solving that. When the UK CIF grant was made available for the Western Main Road, there was no Molineux landslip, I think, at the time. And so obviously it was granted and agreed on the assumption that we were just going to do the normal works along the Western Main Road. And since the Molineux landslip, that's an additional part of it that is distinct and separate, that we locally funding to make sure that we can get it done.
Meanwhile, Cuban engineers are presently on island reviewing Grenada's road infrastructure. Prime Minister Mitchell provided insight into their mission.
And they've already begun working earnestly. They are involved in a number of road projects, reviewing all our bridges. We intend to do capital works on the Woburn to Cliff road. I think you've already seen signs up asking heavier vehicles and heavy trucks not to traverse the area, because it's obviously going to lead to further deterioration of the road, as well as it's frankly dangerous, because there's some parts where two vehicles simply can't pass. So they've been involved in looking at it.
The initial design for the road network, he added, did not entail certain necessary features, which upon review have been deemed necessary for a better outcome.
We had, upon assuming office, designs had already been done for the road. We reviewed designs, we were not satisfied with them. It did not involve widening of the road. It did not involve straightening of the road. There were no sidewalks. In effect, the work was simply to do some retaining walls and repave the road. And there's no way I'm going to preside over a situation where if the road could be widened, we are not widening it.
Right, so you heard there from our Prime Minister, and it's very clear that we have a visionary team of men and women governing this country. And if you listen to the latter part of that piece by GBN there, he's saying the original design did not even included some basics, like a sidewalk or the widening of this cliff to the roundabout there, this piece of work. And that says a lot. It says a lot the NNP was not a visionary team of men and women. They were just doing the same thing over and over. So the same donkey cart road that they met, they never expanded anything. They never thought of, putting, let's say, slipper drains instead of box drains so it's wider. They never thought of including a sidewalk in some residential areas where they're doing some repairs on the road. And that says a lot about the mindset of the NNP. They were just doing things same old, same old, same old. But now with this visionary team, they're thinking down the road. They're thinking about the well-being of our people. I tell friends I have been to Japan, for example, and in nearly every community where you find a road, you have a sidewalk and a green space. You have proper bins, proper drains, in other words, that is what you want for Grenada. Grenada is a very small place. We were discussing yesterday that Grenada is more or less a little precinct, a little district, a little place in a town or a borough or whatever in those bigger countries. A small little tiny, but I mean they're small, tiny. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's a small population, small landmass. Uh, it's not difficult to transform this place and to bring prosperity and benefits to the people. Once you have a visionary team in place who really genuinely believe in Grenada and want good for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. So here you have our Prime Minister saying, hey, this original design did not factor the community, factor in. The community is a residential one. You don't want people to be walking in the road after you do some work there. You need to have a sidewalk and that kind of thing. So look, I want to encourage all of us to support this team of men and women. They are genuine about Grenada. And I am again calling for a responsible opposition party and team. Because what we are seeing now is a irresponsible opposition party, a obstructionist opposition party, agents of hate, enemies of progress. That is who are there on that side. And it's dangerous because you have the NDC and that progressive team, that visionary team, that team with a plan, with an agenda to bring prosperity and opportunities to our people. And on the other hand, you have an opposition team who is standing in the way, who is obstructing, who is preventing these things from happening because they want to hear the bad news. They want bad things to befall Grenada because they want to gloat and laugh and giggle and that's what they want. They want power. They don't want Grenada to develop. They don't want Grenada to transform. They want power. And they would do anything to get it. Even if they have to laugh at Grenada losing some 22.99 million pounds in grant, free money. They're laughing at that. They see it as a kicks. But we, the Grenadian people, do not see it as a kicks or a joke. We do not, because we have a different mindset. We are more educated. We are more reasonable. We have a higher level of reasoning and consciousness. Before, the NNP used to do anything and get away with it. They were able to easily fool the Grenadian people. But after 9 years of education, 9 years of empowerment, 9 years of enlightenment, 9 years of being in this open university, we are better able to reason. We see things different, from a different prism, from a different angle. What we want is good for Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. right? And hence the reason I call for a responsible opposition. The NNP is acting ruthlessly. They're acting without reason. And it scares the living hell out of people who really want Grenada to prosper and benefit and move forward. You listen to some of their programs and you wonder what's going down. The NNP is a dangerous, dangerous bunch of people who do not want good for you and your family or your community. They don't. They're rejoicing over any little thing that they believe is bad. In fact, what is hurting them the most is the fact that the Honorable Deacon Mitchell was able to get back this $20 million or so dollars in grant, and this $100 million or so dollars that would come to benefit our people. So from the UK, the 20 million US dollars in grant aid for the water expansion project and sewer upgrade and so on. And what is hurting them also is this 100 million from Saudi Arabia for a number of projects. And what is further causing them great agony and pain and hurt and sorrow is the report from the IMF. The IMF reported that Grenada's economy is in good standing and good health. So that is hurting them. What will they talk about next? What would they attack next? Because they're looking for negatives, right? They want to criticize. They want to tear down. They want to mash up. They cannot build. They are not builders. They are not innovators. They are not people who have ingenuity within them. They're not creative. They're negative. They're part of the complaining industry. They're about tear down and mash up. And so what next will they attack? What next will they talk about in a negative light? They came out and they spoke about medical shortage at the hospital. And the Honorable Philip Telesford was quickly able to say to the Honorable Lady, well, look, you are talking about medical shortage, but it was your government, the NNP, who did not pay the suppliers, who did not pay them. So you are taking supplies from these suppliers, medications and so on, and you are not paying them. What you expect would happen ultimately? What you expect would happen? But the government is not complaining. The government is trying to solve the problem. That is why they're purchasing the said medication from local pharmacies, because it is needed. So instead of the NNP finding solutions, instead of them tapping into their connections and sources, they're out there trying to make the government look bad. But then the thing backfired on them, because we didn't know that the NNP was owing these suppliers, the NNP administration. We did not know that. We were unaware. But the government was quickly able to say, for 2 years now, the government of Grenada owed these suppliers millions and millions of dollars. They wouldn't continue giving you credit or giving you these things and you're not paying them. So while the NNP was boasting and bragging that there was a pregnant treasury there, they were not actually fulfilling their true responsibility of paying for these medications and so on that they were getting from pharmaceutical companies and suppliers. But they're quick to go there and make people believe that the government is at fault with the shortage of medication and so on, not knowing that it was the NNP who messed the whole thing up. So every time they come out to criticize the government, every time they come out to paint the government in a bad light, it always backfires on them. It's the same thing with this 22.99 million pounds grant. When Keith Mitchell set out, in my belief, to make the government look bad and laugh and giggle about it, we discovered that 7 years the NNP did nothing to access this money and implement the projects. So we had to lose it. But Thank God our Prime Minister is a good negotiator. He was able to renegotiate and get this thing back. At least the 16.4 million pounds or 20 million US or so dollars. And we can go on and on and on. They attack Andy Williams. They say, well, Andy got loan from the Grenada Development Bank and all kinds of stuff. Right? And then I was able to expose the lies, to say to you that the said loan that they were talking about, Andy got that loan under the NNP time in office, the big loan that they are referring to, but he's a businessman. Well, at the time, he was a businessman and a Grenadian, and he has a right to go to any financial institution and access a loan once he meets the criteria and, he has the security to back it up and so on. Then we discovered that this $2 million, how much dollars, was actually a loan that was given to him when his business was destroyed by fire in 2017, right? So by the time 2018, it was approved, and he got that under the NNP time. NNP, the $2 million something dollars. So while they come out there and attacking him, they're angry, they're bitter that Andy did not go on their side or ran for them. He chose the NDC and the NDC team because it falls in line with his belief and his progressive thinking and whole programmatic platform and an agenda and what he wants to see for Grenada, right? And then we discovered that the recent loan was one that he applied for before even being elected into office as the Member of Parliament for the South. And it was only $600,000. So it came across initially as though something was wrong. And then we discovered, no, everything was legitimate and everything was above board. And then the NNP start looking bad. You hear them talking about that over and over again. They realize that Grenadians discover that they were actually lying for the people of this beautiful country. So every time they attack, every time they come forward and speak about something to paint the government bad, it always backfires on them. And they have serious infighting within the NNP. They're fighting every single day. In fact, I was at my favorite spot in St. George's, and KB came there, and had a conversation with me and maybe 2 or 3 people, and then you get the sense that this fighting is like a dog and cat fight, and it will explode. It will be out there, and people are going to see everything. It's just a matter of time. We start seeing it, because I really want a bloodbath within the NNP. I want the NNP to fight so bad that all their faces will be disfigured at the end of it all, and all their political career and everything will be over. I want that. I don't want anything good for these people really within this cussed organization, in my belief. I want what karma has for them, and it will happen. I declare and decree that it will happen. We're going to see the true face of this wicked team of people. It's a cussed organization, in my belief. So it is exposing itself over and over and quite rapidly, and I'm loving it. I love it. So let us just sit back, get your popcorn and so on, and watch the movie play out. Watch the horror movie play out, right? But folks, I want to say to you, the NDC will be celebrating 1 year in the next, couple of weeks, under a month, because, 5 days already gone from that month. Because remember, it was on the 23rd, all right, of June. So you're looking at about 18 more days before NDC celebrates 1 year in office. And definitely you will hear more about the events, the activities, and so on, and everything there. All right, plenty things to happen within that period. I know they have candle lighting, prayer, a day of prayer, the big bingo, town hall meeting, a nice dance in St. John, a number of things they have plan, and you will get to know about it. Yes, Lacey, we know our beloved Prime Minister will be going to Canada in July. So we will talk some more about that. Quite a number of things happening out there. So we will keep you updated. We will provide you with the information because we believe it's important that you participate, that you're involved in all the events and activities. I want to thank you very much for being a part of the program today. I want to wish you all the best. I hope everything is okay with you wherever you are. I will be back with you Tuesday morning. Tomorrow is a holiday here in the state of Grenada. All right, tomorrow, God's willing. So I'll be back with you Tuesday morning. All right. So we have a lot to accomplish together. Take good care and bye for now. We have to wrap it up at this point in time.